Don't you fucking dare!
How's it going, guys? Welcome back to my channel and time for another episode of Luke's Reviews. On today's video, the iconic slasher series is back, although this time we are heading for more familiar territory as famed final girl Sidney Prescott is yet again in the sights of a Ghostface killer in Scream 7. Proving that no horror icon gets to have their happy ending, Sidney Prescott is once again front and center as another spree of Ghostface killings are seemingly heading her way. But for Sidney, she has an extra stake to worry about, as this Ghostface seems less inclined with the notion of horror movies and more about their personal vendetta, placing Sidney's daughter squarely at knife point. Before we dive headfirst into this review, I can't not address the behind-the-scenes politics that went on in the pre-production stages of Scream 7. Now, there was going to be a Scream 7 made that was going to continue the story of Sam and Tara, played by Melissa Barrera and Jenna Ortega, but due to outspoken differences, I think I'll leave it at that in this instance. Melissa Barrera was fired, Jenna Ortega quit with her, and so did the radio silence team. Now, for me, they were the ones that made Scream, the 2022 requel, and Scream 6 so entertaining. And now for this trifecta to have gone, and yet the studio still wanting to put out a Scream movie, therefore they hired Kevin Williamson, who penned the screenplay of the first movie and has a couple of directing credits to his name, but they are not, shall we say, good. And we were also going to dive back into the well that is Sidney Prescott. And I just didn't think that that was necessary for this franchise, because without wanting to sound rude, I think we have exhausted all we can out of Sidney Prescott as a character. I don't think there's anything left to explore. And sometimes I hate it when I'm right. Now look, I didn't dislike Scream 7. It has some decent, intense set pieces, a couple of turns that I wasn't expecting, and a handful of pretty violent, bloody, and sick kills. But fine is never the first word I want out of my mouth when someone asks me how a Scream movie is. What I love about this franchise is that they are usually quite bold in playing the horror tropes, but just not as we'd usually expect them. The meta-commentary that helps flip the narrative on its head. An inventive and twisted whodunit with a warped sense of humor. In my honest opinion, I would so much rather a Scream movie take a swing at something bold, at something different, and it not quite hit. Because then at least I can applaud the film for trying something creative. I can't do that with Scream 7 because they literally make the safest decisions imaginable. And we can dress it up however we want, but it is absolutely a case of damage limitations. This script was hurriedly rewritten, and yet the studio decided to keep it on the same release schedule. Kevin Williamson, God bless the man, he is a legend for penning that first screenplay, but everything about this 7th installment has a clear and present whiff of a studio just wanted to pump out something that is in their intellectual property to fit some quota, and so that we can just go, oh yeah, there's a new Scream movie out. I honestly don't feel that there was a real sense of care behind this movie. And it's so disappointing because this is in a franchise that has been proven to be leagues better than this. The finished product is not a smart slasher that keeps you on the edge of your seat guessing. It is also not a fun and twisted commentary on filmmaking. There is an open goal for them to discuss AI and deepfaking. They set it up, and yet the film never strikes the ball. Now, thankfully, the film has Neve Campbell, because always, she is so reliable as Sidney motherfucking Prescott. She's battle-hardened, always a pro at taking down Ghostface killers, and I will say the angle with protecting her daughter was nice to expand her character just a little bit more, but it felt like the most obvious choice to make with her character. Courteney Cox is back as Gale Weathers, and I will give the film this. She has one heck of an intro. An intro that actually garnered applause from my screening. But then she disappears. Like, she is so barely in this movie. It's Gale Weathers. There's so many things you can do with her. Chad and Mindy from the previous two films are back in this one as well, and their inclusion was nice because them being in the film and what they bring to the Scream movies, they provide that meta commentary. Albeit if in this instance it was done so in a feeble fashion. And I will say that whilst it was a bit of an eye roll to do the whole protecting the next generation and a horror icon has a daughter and they have to look after her and stop her from making the same mistakes as before that we have seen in so many horror movies as of late, Isabel May did a pretty good job as Tatum, Sidney's daughter. But again, we turn our attention to the screenplay and she's saddled with the most basic outline of a character. And I think it is for our mutual benefit to really not analyze the mystery surrounding the Ghostface killers and their identity barely at all, because it's dumb. If I were to create a ranking of all the Ghostface killers in this entire series, without a shadow of a doubt, they are smack bang at the bottom picking up the wooden spoon. Obviously, no spoilers at all, but it was just so obvious. It was plain and simple. And then yet, when we actually get to the motives, it's so dumb. It is so stupid. I have just figured it out. Oh my god, it actually feels like a eureka moment. This isn't a Scream movie. Scream 7 is a stab movie. Oh my god, that answers so many questions. I can't say that I was necessarily underwhelmed by Scream 7 because A, I didn't have the highest hopes to begin with, and B, it was as bland and as safe as can be. So overall, I didn't spend those 2 hours thinking that they had just taken a massive crap all over the franchise. It was just that of all possibilities that they could have explored, they chose the least interesting and easiest option. It is always a pleasure to see Neve Campbell in these films, but I truly think we have completed Sidney's story now. And so, if you aren't going to continue Sam and Tara's journey, then perhaps we need to let this series rest. So overall, I'm going to give Scream 7 a 6 out of 10. Anyway, guys, those were my thoughts on Scream 7. Let me know, have you had a chance to see the film yet? What did you think? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And my question to you, I want to know, what do we do with the Scream franchise now? Do we right the ship? Do we do another Sidney story? Or do we just leave it be? But that is all the time we have for today. So thank you very much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. And I will see you in the next video. Hello, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have, make sure to click that like button. And if you aren't already, click that subscribe button too.